Today we're going to take a look at how to create a net or a geometrical pattern that you can cut or fold to make a model shape in GeoGebra. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is take a look at which windows we're going to be utilizing for this tutorial. So as you can see, we have two different windows that we're using. On the left-hand side, we have our algebra window, and on the right-hand side, we have our graphics window. The graphics window will allow us to see our shape in a 2D view. Later on, we'll go and add that three-dimensional view, which will allow us then to generate our net. We really don't need the algebra window for this one, but we can leave it up there to see where we're placing our coordinates as we go along. So for this tutorial, all we're going to do is make a rectangular prism. And from that rectangular prism, we'll then go ahead and make that net using the 3D version of the shape. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is create our coordinates to generate a two-dimensional base for our prism. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and use our polygon tool, and we're going to go ahead and change the color before we go ahead and actually plot our coordinates. Let's go ahead and select the blue. I like to change the opacity to about 50%. A little bit see-through. It makes it a little bit easier as you're doing the net. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and create a quartered pair on 0, 0. We'll place another one on 2, 0, 2, 2, 0, 2, and again back to 0, 0 to complete our polygon. So from there, I can go ahead and use my selection tool to put down the tool. And from here, that's pretty much all we need to worry about in our 2D graphics. So let's go up to our view window. And from your view window, we're going to go ahead and select 3D graphics. And that will open up that third window that we're going to need. If you don't have enough room, you can always slide that graphics over, or we can even go back into that view and just take that algebra window and turn it off. From here, we're going to need to make sure we're in the correct viewing panel. If I select in my 2D graphics, you'll notice I have one set of toolbars, and by clicking in the 3D graphics, an additional toolbar will appear. We're going to go ahead and select Extrude to Prism for this one. When we select our extrude to prism, one thing we want to keep in mind is we want to make sure we change that color before extruding. It makes it a lot easier as we go forward with this. So there's my 50% opacity. I can select my shape, and we're going to give this an altitude of 3 and hit OK. Select the selection tool, and that will kind of lock that in place. So what we have right now is just your basic generic rectangular prism. In order to make this into a net, we're going to utilize the net tool from our 3D graphics window. So go ahead and select your extrusion tool, and we're going to go down to net. And again, you'll see that your color defaults back to this orangish color. We're going to go ahead and pick a different color here. And you can select any color you want. By doing this, I usually like to make the opacity here at 100% to make this a solid shape. It gives you that little bit of a differentiation between the prism and the net itself. Once we go ahead and click on that rectangular prism, you'll see that it's going to generate that unfolded geometry of what your prism would look like. So if we go ahead and take a look at this, I can zoom out a little bit. You can see in our 2D graphics window, you can see the two-dimensional net that we've created. And over in our 3D graphics window, you can see that we have the rectangular prism along with the net itself. We can go ahead and turn off that grid to give us a little bit of a better view. The neat part about this is that we can utilize this slider tool over in the 2D graphics window. And if we go ahead and slide that to the left, you'll see in the 3D graphics window that that two-dimensional shape will fold up, and it'll show us how it'll actually fold up to create that prism. And this is one reason why I like to make my net a solid color. It will engulf that entire prism and show us what it really looks like. So again, if we go ahead and unfold that net, you can see we kind of unpack all of the faces until we get that two-dimensional shape in our 2D graphics window. And that is how you can make a net in your GeoGebra.